variations, different ways to play that scale or different ways to practice the scale. And we'll be on the major scale just the same. So practicing the scale in different ways will help us to get ideas, for improvising and being able to use the scale in a more musical way. So let's get into it. So in the key of A, starting the major scale, the second finger, the first way we're looking at is playing it legato. So on each string, we'll be playing, plucking in our right hand the note one time, and doing a hammer on for the second note. So going from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, which is a A to B. Same thing here on the next string. Right? So that's what we do ascending. We pluck each string once and then hammer on. So it sounds like this. And we do the opposite going down. We pull off. So we do the same by plucking each string in the right hand once. And then hammering, pulling off as we descend. So ascending, descending, and that works in various positions. All the positions we can do the same thing. So if we start here at the 4th finger, same thing. Going up here, we start at the 1st finger. And as we do this, we might have to use the right hand a little bit to mute unwanted notes, because as we pull off especially, sometimes our fingers may touch another string, the string below or so, and it may cause unwanted sounds. So, we can bear that in mind. So, legato. If we continue to the other shapes, if you haven't checked out the first lesson, check that out. In the first lesson, we did the various shapes in the same key here, various shapes of the major scale, and we use that for other scales. So going up all the way. So that's the approach, legato. And also another tip with legato, well, generally playing, we don't always have to start on the first beat. So if you think of, let me tap my foot here. So 1, 2. We don't always have to start on the first beat. 1, 2, 3. We can start. We can mix up the rhythm as well, if we want to do 8th note. Or if we want to do 16th note. Right? And by now we can start mixing up the different shapes. So, for example, starting here, instead of continuing there, we could even go up. So, right, that's the benefit of learning the different shapes and being able to connect them. So they can be connected many ways. Not only how we did it first, but you can literally use any string to go from one shape to the next. Another way we can practice the scale or another variation is doubling each note. So I'm right now doing down, up with the pick, and I'm playing each note of the scale twice. And using it in a more musical way, it may sound like it. So to get to that, we start by practicing the scale as is by doubling each note. And that's working also the alternate picking. You're building alternate picking while you're, learning the different shapes. So you're doing at least two things at once. All right, so moving on now to three note groupings. So it's basically playing 1, 2, 3 from the first degree, then 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. So the idea is from each degree you're playing three notes up, then back down to the next degree. So first, second, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7, 1. It works hard with legato as well. So any position, all those positions, explore them in all those positions. And even though we're in this key, you could try and get in this key first, and then move on to other keys using the same shapes. All right. We can also talk about four note grouping, which is the same concept of from each degree, no, but going up four notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, 1. And it sounds like this. Legato works too. Also, as a refresher for the legato, plucking these string ones. One, two. So even descending from each note, we're just going four notes down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another way in which we can practice the scale is going in thirds. So for each degree of the scale now, we want to harmonize that with a third above. So starting with the first degree, we think of three notes up the scale. 1, 2, 3. And we harmonize it with that. Second degree on the scale, we think of two notes up. Da, da, da. And this applies right through the third degree on the scale. We think of 1, 2, 3, and we can find that note here. Or if we wanted to go this direction. So the idea is that for each degree of the scale, you're combining that note with a harmony of a third above. And this is what you'll get. So that works out nicely for stuff like this. Using mostly thirds there. So that's the sound you get from thirds. That somewhat chord-like sounding movement, but it's not a full chord, it's a harmony, right? And we can also approach the thirds broken. So instead of playing them at the same time, we can play them separately and we'll get this. So it's the same concept of playing each degree and adding a third above that degree, but this time we're not playing the notes together, we're playing them individually. First degree, second degree, the third above, third degree. So it's a third above each degree within the scale. And by a third, I mean 3 notes up. So for the first degree, we do 1, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 3 notes up. And the second degree, we go 1, 2, 3. So we're just using that third degree we're just using 3 notes up from each degree. This is what we'll get. Alright, so playing around with it some more, you get this. And we can also do that legato. If we have more than one note on a string, we do a hammer on and a pull off. So if we are ascending, the hammer on. The next variation now is harmonizing it with a sixth above. So similarly with the third, we count 6 notes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for example, from the first degree, this would be a 6. Second degree. Alright, so that's the sound. Alright, I'm sure you've heard that one already. And that for the 6, because there's a string skipping, meaning that to get the harmony we have to skip a string. So I would start here like at the 6th string, and I go over the 5th string to get the harmony there. But it's still the same idea of counting 6 notes up from each degree, and we'll get that sound. So hybrid picking, which is using the pick on the lower string. So this, in the case of this one, the 6th string, and I'm using like the middle finger here on the 4th string. I'm plugging them together. You can also strum it down like this, but it might be easier to use the hybrid picking. So for the 6, because there's a string skipping, the hybrid picking works nicely, and it would sound something like this. Alright? Now we can even separate them. So instead of playing it together, we can play them broken as well now. So if you want to continue with that hybrid picking, pick and second finger, or we can use pick down, up. I personally use both techniques. Oh, there are the embellishment. I didn't mention fourths. I went from thirds to sixths. I didn't mention like fourths and fifths, but all of those can be done, But to me, the third and the sixth are more melodic sounding than the fourth, the fifth, and the harmonies of those. And also tenths, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the same concept of harmonizing each degree with a tenth above, which is a big interval. And a tenth is really, the third an octave up. That's why we call it a tenth. If you think about the major scale, 1, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You could say that's eighth notes, which is really 7. The last one is do again, but if you want to, the last one will be do again, right? So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if we count 1, 2, 3, that's 10. So the 10 is really a third octave up. So if we harmonize each note by a third, by a tenth, it would sound something like this. Right, that's the idea. So this variation can be also explored in different positions. And in terms of the fingering, for the first degree, I would want to use 1 and 2. Second degree, I might want to use 3, third finger, and fourth. Or if you want to go up, 1 and 2 are, any 2 fingers can actually work. Any of those 2. But if you want to keep your hand in position, first and second, third and fourth, first and second, then first and fourth, first and fourth finger, first and second finger, first and second finger, first and fourth finger. Right. And it's something that you can be aware of, generally speaking. Starting on a different beat can totally change the way an idea sounds. It sounds like a totally different idea just by changing the beat that you start on. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson, ways in which you can practice your scales. I know we looked at the major scale, and this concept applies for all scales. You can apply various patterns to the minor scale as well, and different groupings, legato, and starting on different beats. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. Alright, so take care and see you again soon.